You seem to still be up there somewhere.
Maybe I am. There are flying saucers.
Supposing they're Martians or something in there.
Hey guys, welcome back to another Weird Wednesday. I'm itsasherz, and this is
Malorie.
Malorie, thank you so much for being my guest host this week.
I've been looking forward to this all day. I'm very excited.
I love that. I hope you told everybody that you knew, because we need more listeners. So you have to tell your grandma, that you came on Wednesdays We Talk Weird. She'll be so excited.
Graham, do you want to learn about cannibals?
She's like, back in my day, we called them people eaters. She would love this. Just know it. Anyway, how was your weekend?
I had a busy but very boring weekend. So Saturday, my husband and I woke up and we decided we were going to brave Costco on a Saturday morning.
Wow, that is brave.
Oh, brave and stupid. I think hubris is the term.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went. It was exactly like you would anticipate Costco at 11 a.m. People were feisty. People were very feisty. But, I got my 100 servings of citron ginger tea, so I was happy.
Oh, yeah, gotta have that.
And then Saturday night, we watched a movie. We watched the newest in the VHS series. It's VHS Halloween.
Yeah.
So we've watched all of them. I think this is like the 7th or 8th installment. I don't know how I want to say this. It's not a bad movie by any stretch. It was a lot more gore and body horror than I am personally a fan of. Oh. Without like too much of the campy comedy, because the whole thing is it's an anthology of shorts, and each one is supposed to be, just a campy Halloween style movie. I don't know. It felt kind of flat for me. I was disappointed.
I mean, I think it's perfectly acceptable to not enjoy a series 7th or 8th movie in the series. Usually that's the case, right?
Yeah.
So it's I think that's fine. I've never watched any of the VHS movies.
Oh, really?
Never seen not one of them. Yeah, I don't just haven't. I no real reason. I just haven't gotten around to checking them out yet.
I think we found them initially because my favorite flavor of horror is found footage, and these are all found footage shorts.
Oh,
I think that's why we started watching them, and then it was like our tradition every year. They release them like clockwork around this time, so we would always watch them.
Well, okay,
yeah.
Very cool. Anything else we did this weekend?
Honestly, Sunday I was just sort of nursing a migraine.
Yeah,
but I got in lots of good naps, so that was good.
Jealous.
But yeah, it was pretty chill for Sunday. What about you? How was your weekend?
It was it was exciting. I did so we have this thing locally. It's referred to as Huber Haunts. Okay, so Huber Heights, Ohio, has thank you. They have kind of okay, let me start from the beginning, I guess, because I forget y'all aren't from here, so you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we have Fairborn, Ohio, and in Fairborn, Ohio, it is unofficial, or probably more official, Halloween town. The main strip of the town is owned by this family. It's and they have like a series of stores. Okay, it's called Foy's. And Foy's has they have like an adult costume store, a kids costume store, a haunted house like prop store. They've got like a novelty store. I mean, they own a lot of a lot of the strip, and they're really dedicated to like Halloween. And so every year during Halloween, they go really big. They have a haunted house on the strip. They have a big Halloween festival. The owners and stuff decorate like crazy around the area, and then people just in general around the area have gotten really into it, and so they decorate. and it's really neat. But let me tell you, Huber Haunts is like very quickly overtaking the Halloween Town moniker. Like Huber Heights is doing it big. So I don't know when exactly this started. But every year they have some type of game. So they'll like make a map and like make like a list of addresses of different people who participate in the game. Last year, they had these wooden cutouts of different cartoon characters, right? Or not just cartoon characters. There was like Michael Myers and Jason and stuff too. And
Okay,
so
yeah.
you had like the list of houses, and you had to go to the house and you had to find the character. And then
Oh my gosh.
yeah, and then like you had like a sheet that you had to fill out and mark down what character was at what house, and then you turn it in, and then like at the end of the season they'll do like this huge prize drawing for everybody who completes it.
Wow.
And yeah, and so not all of the houses get super into it. Some just do basic decorations, which is fine. But a lot of them get like big into it, and they have some of the craziest fucking home Halloween decor I've ever seen in my entire life. But it's very, very cool. It's very fun. And sometimes they get really creative with the characters. And so they can be kind of hard to spot and a little tricky and, but it's really neat. And so we were way excited to do that. We kind of, found out about it last year, but it's been going on for years. And we were super excited to do it this year. And the map came out this weekend. So, but it just came out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
However, we've discovered other places around Huber Heights that participate outside of the map. So they don't always do clues and stuff. Some do. But they're like home haunts. So the one place we went to, it's called Harshmanville Haunts. It's because it's on Harshmanville Road in Huber Heights, Ohio. And it is fucking insane. It's a haunted house, but without any actors, first of all. Okay. So you go to this person's fucking house in the middle of this neighborhood, and there is like a couple of walkthroughs to do. It's 2 different walkthroughs. The very first one, now they'll kind of change the order of it and change it up a little bit every year. But this year it was, you walk through and you start off in like a cemetery, and the scares come in with their animatronics, right? So you activate the animatronic, it'll jump at you or do whatever, and it's creepy and it's unsettling. But when you enter into this maze, you are literally transported to a whole new world.
Oh my gosh.
It is fucking wild. So you go through the cemetery. Then you get to, there's like a structure built on the property. It's like a little hut, and it's like the witches area. So there's all these like witch animatronics. They're stirring potions. They're talking to you. There's cool lighting and there's fog, and it's really neat. And then you walk out of that and it gets insane. They have 2 other structures that they've built, and these structures are very fitting for this episode this week. They are like human butcher shops.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So they have like display cases with like pieces of like human meat and brains and organs and stuff inside of them. The whole thing's lit up red, even though you're outside. Okay. That whole area is lit up in red. There's people hanging off of meat hooks. I mean, it's nuts. And you're just like, where am I right now?
That's why. And it's just like in the middle of a residential area?
Yes, this is someone's house. Yeah, you just go for free. And yeah, it's crazy. So like you go through like that section, like they've built up a little scene where like there's this creepy woman and she's cooking, and again, she's not real, but your brain does not know that. You're freaking out. And so yeah, and that's like the big to do there. Well, then you come out of that, and then now it's kind of on to the next area, and they have a full ticket booth with a clown sitting inside of it, with a Dr. Spaulding hanging out on the outside of it.
Oh my gosh.
Or I'm sorry, Captain Spaulding, not Dr. Spaulding. My God. Geez, so embarrassing. I'm never going to hear the end of that, guys.
Wow.
I know. But they have another maze that you go through. And this one's like, I mean, it's made out of like black tarp. it's straight up just black tarp. And you go into it, and there's different hallways for you to go down. Again, made by black tarp. But as you go through the different hallways and you traverse to the different areas, you come upon different scenes. And these scenes are the whole fucking thing is clowns. The whole thing.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I'm not an afraid of clowns person. Like I never have been that type of person, but it is terrifying. It's fucking horrifying. So of course a lot of it is like it's animatronics, right? That's a big one. They've got the one with the Georgie, its arm ripped off and he's flailing around, and then Killer Clowns from Outer Space, like that's another one.
Yeah.
But you turn the corner at one point, there's like an open window, like there's like an open cutout, and you're like, oh, what's going on here? And you start to walk past it, and a fucking clown jumps into the window and starts laughing at you.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And this is not again, it's not a person, it's all robots, but your brain does not know that. At one point, there's like this whole scene with all these different clowns on both sides of you. There's two different scenes. On one side, there's a bunch of them. They're not, they're creepy, but not particularly special. Right behind you, the whole time, are these fucking massive clowns. And they're just laughing. They're just laughing at you the whole time. And they're moving and stuff, and they're laughing, and then like you're trying to like look at the other clowns and see what they're doing, and there's clowns fucking behind you and in front of you, and it's really unsettling.
Oh my God. Have you ever seen Hell House, LLC?
No, I haven't. Mm-mm.
Oh. Your description of the haunted house just called me back to a scene with a clown, and no thank you.
One clown?
It was the only clown that wasn't a prop.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what you expect the whole time. You're like, okay, somebody at some point is going to be real, right?
Yep.
All of this, it, you've been through it before, but nobody ever is, and that's good, because I would probably pee myself in front of everyone right there in their driveway. I would leave my mark. I would piss my pants, and I would tell everybody that I did.
This is what you get for scaring me.
I'm just saying. No, it is. It's really fucking cool. It really is. It's real. I mean, honestly, if you're like, well, I'm like 2 hours from there, take the drive. It's worth it. It's really neat. But that's just one of many, and that was just my Friday night. So. Saturday was a little more chill. That's when I started watching the terrible, and I'm sure you guys have seen me bitch about it enough online, the terrible Ed Gein, fucking whatever you want to call that. It's not a documentary or anything. It's just really bad. The recent, if you don't know, for some reason you live under a rock, the recent Monster, the Ed Gein story came out, and it's bad, guys. It's bad. And the amount of people that I've seen defending it is just really unsettling to me because, I don't know. I watched the Dahmer one. Okay. I didn't watch the Menendez brothers one because, man, I just don't give a fuck about the Menendez brothers. I really don't.
They piss me off. I get it.
Right. I mean, I'm not interested in hearing about them anymore in my life. And the Dahmer one was okay, but it definitely had some artistic liberties, right? So it's like, okay, there's some things in here. But for the most part, it was pretty accurate. And I was like, okay. Well, watching this, it is just a piece of shit. Ed Gein is killing people with chainsaws, multiple people. He kills a lot of people.
Oh, my gosh.
There's a whole love interest side story.
What?
Yes. He has a girlfriend, a fiance at one point.
Fuckable Ed Gein?
Yeah, it's which he does masturbate a lot while wearing women's clothing. I don't mind that so much. Like I was like, okay. But then it just gets weird. His mom starts talking to him and it's like, no, that's
no, thank you. Yeah, I honestly haven't seen anything good about it.
I believe that. I know, I agree with you. A lot of people are saying it's really terrible. But a lot of people are like, well, I liked it. I liked it for what it was. It's shot well. The acting's really good. Everybody in it does a good job being who they are, except the weird Ed Gein voice, which is, to me, it sounds like Barney Rubble from the fucking Rick Moranis Barney Rubble from the 90s flicks.
Oh, wow.
It's hard to get over. But no, it's not good. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing, y'all? Look, I get it. Y'all, I have a comedy podcast, and we've talked plenty about murder and grotesque nature of things. And we're going to do that more today, and we make it funny. But, there's got to be a line somewhere. You can't, poke fun at the violence. Like, you have to, and for us to be sensationalizing it to that degree and embellishing, the original. Because now you have people that they don't know the story of Ed Gein, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know he had a fiance," and it's like, "Well, he fucking didn't."
Yeah.
That's what his problem was, probably. Poor guy never got laid, And it's like, so now you're going to have all these people. And it is on us as the viewer to have self-accountability, right? And to do our due diligence and research these times, just like the Conjuring movies and stuff. You gotta research it on your own. But, at the same time, like, how many people are really going to go out of their way to do that? Not a lot of them. So we gotta cut that shit out. So skip that one. Don't watch it.
That's a good point.
It did have some pretty good gore, though. So if you're into that,
As we learned earlier, no thank you from me.
Yeah, it was something else. And then Sunday I went to I did some nice family fall festival activities. I went to a nice local farm, Lucas Brothers Farm. And it was good. Hay rides and pumpkins and slushy apple cider. It was great. So
Ooh.
It was not a terrible weekend.
That sounds lovely.
Thank you. I have severe party girl voice today. I'm just really struggling sometimes with the voice situation. So if it cracks and stuff, whatever, get over it. I had a good weekend. That's a sign of it. Let's do some news.
I would love to
talk about some news. I have one news. And at first when I saw this, I was like, fuck yeah, dude, good for him. And then I became increasingly confused as I continued to read the story. So on September 8th, in a town called Mineola, Texas, I think that's how you say it. That's how I'm saying it. A man was, driving down the road when he accidentally hit and killed a dog.
Oh, no.
Horrible, right? Horrible. The owner of the dog, Alberto Joshua Hernandez, approaches the driver angrily. He was very angry. His dog just got hit and killed by this guy. But he approaches the driver, waving around a very serious-looking gun.
Okay.
He forced the driver to get out of the vehicle, to gather the animal's remains, and to dig a grave for the animal.
Okay. I'm not mad yet.
Right. You're like, it seems reasonable to me. You hit my fucking dog. The least you could do, right, is bury them. I get it, right? But when they were finished, Hernandez demanded that the driver get in the car and drive him to the nearest ATM, where he forced the driver to withdraw $200 to compensate him for his lost pet.
Oh, dear.
And they're like, okay, I'm still kind of on board, but that's kind of weird. And of course, he did so. And, the guy, there's video footage of them at the ATM, him with the gun pointed at him, drawn $200.
Uh-huh.
And then Hernandez told the driver that he will be back. He will track him down in the future for even further compensation.
Oh.
And then he let him go. So the driver, of course, went and told the police, what happened. And, well, Hernandez was arrested and is being charged with aggravated kidnapping and aggravated robbery.
Oh, gosh.
What the fuck?
God. Like, the first half, I was with you. Full right. John Wick. Like, yeah.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Hit my fucking dog, asshole. Yeah. And then it just... I don't know. Grief makes you do weird things. Okay, I'm not ready to completely write this guy off as a psychopath, but because I get it, but what the fuck, dude? You could have had it all.
There's
too far.
There's part of me that also wonders, I don't take a gun to take my dog on a walk. I guess there are people that do. So
he says that this is where it gets really weird. And at first I was like, really? Because, okay. The driver said that he hit the dog or whatever on accident. And, the dog dies. And a silver truck approached behind him. And that's when Hernandez gets out of the truck. And, that's him. And he's like, that's my fucking dog. You shot my, you hit my fucking dog. But then he goes into the house, gets the gun, and comes out. So I don't know if maybe the dog got out and he was chasing the dog, or I don't understand how this happened, how this got to that point to begin with. I just don't. I don't know.
Yeah. And now I'm wondering, like, did the driver of the car who hit the dog, was he staying to, like, do the right thing?
I think it sounds like he was, but he said that he had him retrieve the dog from a ditch. So it's like, so what?
Ooh.
So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so did he try to put the dog in the ditch and was just gonna go? Did he hit the dog so fucking hard that it got thrown into the ditch? I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
how do we know the dog was even dead?
Yeah, I'm gonna need like a whiteboard with a timeline. I need to know how fast the vehicle was going. I need more information.
I mean, even still, honestly, if I was on that jury, I'd probably still let him go. I'd be like, but the dog. They'd show a picture of that dog in court, and it would be over for me.
Done.
That's not the guy deserved an asshole. He should give me $200 for enduring this. Then I rob him.
He just gets robbed 12 times after the case.
Yeah. He's like, what the fuck? I don't even have that much money. The last person's like, I don't care, give me your shoes. Yeah, it's a weird story. It's really out there. His bond is set at $350,000. I mean, that's a pretty serious crime.
Yeah.
I get it. I don't, the death penalty in general is a weird thing for me, right? Because it's custom fit to your situation. If it were my dog, would I act that irrationally? Because I probably would. I mean,
yeah. There is. There's like, you always want to put yourself in other people's shoes in these situations. I love my dogs. I have 2 dogs. Would I do something stupid? Probably.
Probably, yeah. But like, also, I've hit animals before. I've never hit a dog, but I did hit a cat one time, and I was very destroyed. I couldn't even drive home after that.
Yeah.
I was so upset. One time I went to work and I'm like ugly crying. Everybody's like, what's wrong with you? I had hit a squirrel. And I felt so terrible. I was like, oh my God. And then the very next day I went to go into work and I'm driving down the same road where I hit the squirrel. It's still there. And a fucking bird swoops down in front of the car. And I'm like, oh my God. But I didn't hit him. I think he was trying to get revenge for his girlfriend.
Oh!
He recognized me. It's like, oh, sorry about your squirrel friend. And then I started crying. I'm like, I'm sorry. Because so if I had ever hit someone's dog, like I'd be like, just pull the trigger. Like, I'm terrible. So it's tough to say because did that guy deserve that kind of treatment? It was probably genuinely an accident.
Yeah.
And that shit sucks. But just fucking control your dog, bro. Like it's that, just get it together and keep your dog on a leash and they'll be fine. I would hope. So anyway, that was my weird news.
Well, I have some weird news if you'd like to hear it.
Let's hear it. Yeah.
So, Rose Mnisi of South Africa was caught. She was charged with possession with intent to sell. Now you may ask yourself, what did she possess? Because, you read that headline, there's nothing weird about that.
Sure.
She was in possession of an indeterminate amount of human placentas.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Was that why she had them? Was to sell to eat?
So I went down an absolute rabbit hole with this because quick biology lesson from your friendly local science librarian. Placentas, they are transient organs that develop during pregnancy, and it's how like the developing baby gets all of their nutrients, antibodies, blood from the mother. So these are not organs that you can transplant. They're, delivered with the baby after the birth. Like,
and you wouldn't need to. I mean, that's...
No, exactly. Like, there's no way there's a black market for this the way you would have for, like, a kidney.
Right.
So, yeah, it is really a fairly common traditional medicinal belief that eating the placenta, like human placentas, can increase fertility, can increase breast milk production, can even increase immunity. So there are some people, they'll keep their placenta after a birth and feed it to their families.
Yeah.
So it seems likely that, yes, she was in possession with the intent to sell them for these medicinal purposes.
Well, and like eating placentas is like not, it's not unusual in America even. So like because this was where in Africa?
Yeah, this was South Africa, but you're exactly right. This tradition of eating placentas, it is also fairly common in Western cultures as well.
Yeah, this is a thing that people do. I wanted to do it. When I had my child, I was like, I kind of want to do that. Well, because, and we'll talk about it a lot more this episode, but because when's the next time I'm going to have the chance to eat something human, right?
Very true.
So you consider all those possibilities, you're like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? There's lots of weird. Having babies is fucking weird, you guys. It's strange. I mean, there's so much, especially like, my God, don't get me started on circumcision, but like, let's talk about that. If you're having a boy, one of those decisions that you have to make during your pregnancy is, am I going to cut the foreskin off my son? Like, it's fucking weird.
And you always see there's so many things that nobody warns you about too. Like I do not have children, so I just see, the secondhand stories of people saying, oh yeah, you get like electrical lightning zaps in your hoo-ha. That's a thing.
I never had that happen. That sounds kinky.
I swear I'm not making it up.
I mean, I tried at least twice. Gotta make sure you don't like it. No, there is a lot. There's a lot of really weird stuff. I mean, even like, coughing afterwards. You're like, ouch.
I bet.
That sucks. But no, there's a lot of weird stuff that you just, like I said, you have to make decisions on, or, you have to learn about. There's like saving the, like the blood from like your umbilical cord and things like that you can do. That's really beneficial. And so the placenta thing was one of them. And I was like, yeah, I kind of, like, if they asked me, like, do you want to keep this? I would have been like, yes, but they didn't ask. So, and I was too afraid to ask.
Yeah.
I was pretty young. I was 20 when I had my daughter, so I wasn't very confident or forward in anything that I was doing in my life.
Sure.
So I think that if I was if I was who I am now and I had kids, more kids, I'd be like, fuck yeah, save that shit. But no, it is a very common thing that happens. I mean, so common that you could probably, even if you're not having kids or not planning on having kids, or you aren't a woman, I'm sure you could actually find someone local who'd be willing to share theirs with you.
Oh, no, like, I'm sure. And the thing is with Rose, she was a janitor at the hospital. So she was just collecting the pathological waste from the labor and delivery unit. That's how she was getting a hold of it.
She's like, I'm not throwing that away. This is good eating. I've heard it probably tastes a lot like liver is what I imagine.
Yeah.
It's a very irony. But interesting. I mean, is the intent that she was going to sell them?
Yeah. So I think the major problems were, one, lack of consent from the donors, from the people who were losing these organs. But yeah, the fact that she was trying to sell them for profit on the organ market was, I think, the larger issue.
But I mean, that's like if somebody were like raiding a pharmacy dumpster, you know what I mean? Like, is that really, they're just throwing it out? Yeah.
Like, where's the line? Because if you see it on the side of the street in a trash can, it's fair game.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and that's pretty much what she did, except in the hospital, sterile environment. I don't know. I don't so much. I just thought she was having a barbecue or something, and was like, "Oh, here we go." Invite the fam over. That's weird and disgusting, but it is, and it is ethically strange. Again, you are eating a part of a human. Technically, so obviously, when we talk about it here, there's some people that are like, "Wow, Asherz, you would really do that? That's really and you think like worse of me now." But it's not, like, what's the problem? Like, what exactly is the issue there? I mean,
Yeah.
that's my opinion on something like that. Anyway, I don't really, don't really see it's a victimless crime.
You're not wrong. There are far worse crimes that one could commit.
Absolutely. So, well, speaking of, that is actually it has a name. It is a known form of cannibalism. It's called medicinal cannibalism, where people will eat parts, body parts, or, obviously things like placentas, in order to gain. It's kind of supernatural, right? There's really no proof. It's more of a pseudoscience, I guess.
Yeah.
Where people can gain certain attributes from it. The placenta deal, it just depends. Some people are like, it's just super healthy, and I like the way it tastes.
So, like, the medicinal side of things, there's a concept that like heals like. And that's sort of where a lot of traditions come from. Like, I know when I was younger and like just first starting to menstruate, my mom always insisted on liver once a month, liver and onions.
Oh,
She's
so
like,
sorry.
you don't want to get anemic. And it's, I can't eat liver to this day. Not that I want to, but it comes from this concept that, you eat a placenta potentially to increase your fertility or to increase breast milk production. So that's where that like concept comes from.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's definitely, some logic behind it. But yeah, that is again the basis for this episode, you guys. This week we're going to talk about cannibalism.
We are.
How lucky. I will say that, Malorie, you did pick this topic. I mean, you had choices, and this is what you went with.
I did.
So I'm going to ask you a very important question. What's your favorite food?
Of all the questions, I'm going to be real with you. That's not the one I was expecting.
Oh, good. It gets worse.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to be so real with you and our listeners here, and it's quite polarizing. Okay. There is nothing I love more than a classic 1995 vintage tuna casserole. Noodle. I love
that.
Oh man, my mom, like when I go home, she lives somewhat far away from me. Every time I go home, she doesn't even ask anymore. It's tuna noodle casserole. That's what I want.
At least it's not liver and onions.
Yeah, hard pass. Thanks.
Man, that's a good pick. That's a really, I mean, it is good. It's nice and hearty, and it's very much a comfort food, right?
It is.
Tuna noodle casserole. Yeah, that's very good choice. I see. Mine's not that simple because it changes so much. I have food issues in general, and so I'm one of those people that get super obsessed with a certain food, and that's all I eat for like 6 months straight, and then I can't ever eat it again.
Yep, and then you hate it.
You're like, oh, it's ruined, and for like until like 3 years later, you're like, why did I ever stop eating this? The cycle repeats. But I'll tell you, pretty consistently, breakfast.
Oh,
love breakfast. All of it, the whole thing, the eggs, the bacon, the pancakes, French toast.
Oh,
come on. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like breakfast. Is because when you start to get sick of one of the things you prepare, you can just switch it out for something else. Like, it's so versatile, and so it's just always a good idea for me. So.
Oh, you got sweet, you got savory, you got everything in between.
Oh yeah, breakfast is super good. But I will tell you, I'm not a big fan of red meat.
Yeah.
Or poultry. To be honest, I am pretty much pescatarian, but more by choice rather than ethics. Just because if I'm going to eat, if I'm going to eat meat, most of the time it's going to be seafood of some sort.
Yeah.
Which is people think that that's very unusual, but like I'm not a steak girl, and I'm not a chicken girl. So I'm right there with you at the tuna noodle. That's good stuff. Sauce and noodle and tuna, great.
Can't go wrong.
Well, getting into other things, cannibalism. I'll tell you, this has been a very trying episode to. I'm not squeamish, but I do get squeamish when it comes to this topic. It can
Yeah.
get really, really dark, and we're gonna go there. You guys ready to go there with us? Obviously, if this is not for you, turn it off now. Again, it's just gonna get worse. But it gets good. I have a palate cleanser at the end. Haha.
Hilarious.
Yeah, no, thank you. And we'll get there. So, what is cannibalism? Cannibalism is the act of a specific species eating their same species, right? They're like species. It's not something that's just seen in humans, but we most of the time, like if you think cannibal, like you're not thinking about the girl mantis biting off the head of the male mantis.
No.
You're and maybe you think about like cannibalistic indigenous tribes. But for the most part, when you think of cannibal, your mind goes to Hannibal Lecter, Jeffrey Dahmer, cannibals, right? The hardcore, dirty, gritty. And we're going to get into some of those, of course. But I think it would be a disservice if we didn't talk about, pretty much all the different types of cannibalism. Now, as the local scientist there, do you want to talk about some cannibalism in like the animal kingdom?
Yeah. So actually, in the animal kingdom, cannibalism, so like a frog eating a frog, is actually quite rare. The whole point of evolution, right, is to reproduce and to make things more genetically diverse. So by eating another member of your species, you're kind of inherently going against that. And I think that's a big part of why for humans too, this can be like a very squeamish, like you said, topic, because it goes against everything that we are genetically programmed to do, which is conserve that genetic diversity. Now, I do have a really quick sidebar of There's a fantastic book called Cannibalism, A Perfectly Natural History that does focus on cannibalism in the animal kingdom. It's by Bill Scutt. Really approachably written scientific literature. My husband also brought that on a cruise, so I I got to make eye contact with a lot of old ladies who would walk by in their little swimsuits and do a double take at my husband reading this book called Cannibals.
Well, because exactly like I said, when you think of the word cannibal, like you think of the worst of the worst.
Yes.
I mean, so very interesting. Wow. I think that I hope that Bill Scutt also writes smut.
If he doesn't, he is missing out on a huge market.
Huge market,
That's smut? Like, come on.
Right. And it should be cannibal smut at that. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Well, okay, so anyway, getting back to it, one thing I meant to Google is to figure out, why different animals might consume each other, because sometimes they do. If you've ever owned any type of animal that has bred in your life and they've bred with regularity. For instance, my mom, she had hamsters for a very long time and would breed them. A special kind of hamster. I don't fucking remember what they were cute. That's what I know. But they were expensive.
Yep.
And, of course she would breed them and she would sell them. And the mom sometimes would eat the babies.
Yeah.
a lot of the times she would eat the babies, and she saved one time. He was kind of hidden, but his foot was wrapped up in like some of the bedding, and so he did end up losing his foot. But he got to survive mom's wrath,
My.
and he lived a long, great life. His name was Gimpy.
Oh, Gimpy.
Yeah, he was great. But why would she do that? What was the point of that? I mean, sometimes mother animals will eat their babies if there's something wrong with them, if they're sickly, if they may slow down the rest of the group, because
Yeah.
like you said, they run on just pure instinct, and so if it is going against the greater good, then that's what they're gonna do. I mean, God, I hate to say it, guys, but like some of these animals, like they're Nazis, right? They practice eugenics. It's terrible. They do.
I mean, you're not entirely wrong. It is. It's interesting that you mentioned the captive bred animals, though, doing this. Because the one place in the animal kingdom that it's really common, and when you think about it, it makes sense, is tadpoles in little puddles.
Okay.
They tend to engage in cannibalism because there's just not enough space for realistically them to survive. So if there's a certain population density that they're sensing around them, they will start to engage in cannibalism. And I'm kind of wondering with like animals bred in captivity, if that's just triggering a certain part of their brain, like, oh shit, there's not enough space here for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very, I mean, obviously she never told us exactly why she was doing it. We asked her, we're like, why are you doing this? Like, what's going on, mamas? What's the issue? And she just looked at us and kept chewing her celery or whatever. Just like, okay.
Mum's the word.
But yeah, that is really interesting. Well, and exactly, I mean, you're right. There's not enough resources. And so it's either we all get not enough to survive, or we kill some of you and then we get it all and we can survive.
Yep.
It really just depends. It's definitely case by case. I mean, with the so many different eclectic species on the planet, if you're super interested in hearing about one specific animal and why it does what it does, I suggest looking it up, right? We got computers in our pockets, y'all. It's really cool, and I'm sure you'll find out why. But you don't want to hear about the animal kingdom and the cannibalism that they commit. I know you don't. I know what you're here for. I know what you're here for. You want to hear about people eating other people. I get it. So cannibalism is a little more. It's kind of a privilege in modern days. I mean, I know that sounds real fucking weird, and it sounds like I'm just trying to be funny, but like I'm not. It's true. Back in the day, you had a lot more. You still didn't really have a ton of people killing and eating people for survival. You did have that to some extent, which is where we end up getting cautionary tales of cannibalism. Well, gosh, I guess I'm throwing it out there up front, like the Wendigo.
Yeah.
It's very much a cautionary tale of cannibalism, which is, of course, if you don't know the Wendigo, I don't think you've ever even listened to the show. But it's an Algonquin spirit that possesses people whenever they consume their family, their friends, whoever, whenever they eat each other. And the reason why they had to have something like this cautionary tale is because these are the Algonquins. Like, they live through the harsh winters outside.
Yeah.
And pretty much you would get to the point to where you'd have a harvest and you would try to prepare. I mean, you'd spend all the warm months preparing for the cold months just to barely survive it and then do it all over again. And the downside of it was that when you got to the end of that harvest season, you kind of had a pretty good idea of if you were going to make it or not.
Oh, that's such a good point.
Yeah. And so, you're looking around and you're like, fuck, I don't have enough food. And that's not just like, it's not like you could be like, fuck, I ran out of deodorant, right? I'll stink, but I'll be okay. Like, you're out of food. Like, you're going to die. And so desperate times call for desperate measures, instead of you going, having your survival instinct kick in and go, well, fuck it. I'll just eat. I got 8 kids here. I'll just eat 3 of them. I'll still have 5. they ended up creating this cautionary tale, and it's mostly because that even at that point in history, we had such a history of trying out cannibalism, because I'm sure we probably looked around at each other and went, man, I'm really fucking hungry.
Yeah.
That guy looks good. Why aren't we eating him? And everybody's like, that's a good point, and then they try it. But what we had found out, what we didn't quite understand at that time, was that when you eat other people, mostly very specific parts of other humans, it makes you very, very, very sick. And so we kind of created stories around that concept, because we knew people were getting real fucking sick from doing this, but we didn't understand why. And everything at that time was, spiritually based, right? With some type of religion. So it would create stories around it. In comes, like I said, something like the Wendigo, where, you are possessed, you become a terrible, horrible person, and then your bloodlust is, insatiable, and they don't have a choice but to kill you. That's so anyway, that's my quick Wendigo rundown.
See, I didn't think about it as the literal, like, getting ill, because there are like prion diseases you can acquire only through eating, like, the human brain and that kind of thing. I always saw the Wendigo as more of like an allegory about greed. I didn't think of it as like a cautionary tale for these physiological issues that can happen.
So the interesting thing about it being an allegory for greed is that it is now. They don't really need to use it as a cautionary tale as much, because they're not trying to eat each other anymore. Like, we're not trying to eat each other anymore. But it's still very much a concept that's alive and well, in those tribes. They still definitely subscribe to the idea of a Wendigo. But now they've had to like shift that narrative, and it's had to grow, just like all folklore. It's had to grow with the times.
Yeah.
So you're not far off. I'll give it to you. But no, definitely. I mean, well, and like I said, it's just, they had to cut. You have to create rules to stop bad behavior, and that's kind of the basis for like all religion in our world, right? So, that's, you have to have some type of ethical code to stop us from eating each other. Why is it bad that we eat each other, right? It's because it makes them sad because now they're dead and they're dinner. No, it's because it makes us real fucking sick, and that doesn't do well to kick off our survival. And like you said, that's not what we're built for. Even though nowadays we're in 2025 and we have things like electric and plumbing and things like that, our brains are still very much in tune to that survival instinct. But they're concepts that we often can't or don't really think about, because we don't need to as much anymore. And it's cool because we're watching us evolve over time as we evolve over time.
Yeah. It's horrifying to think too. Back in the day, like, you would know right around this time whether or not you were going to survive the winter or not.
Yeah.
That is such a horrifying concept. Like, I'm a hobby canner. Like, I can jam and random shit from my garden with my mom every year. But that's like jam and jelly and fun stuff. That is not, I couldn't imagine having to rely on myself to survive in that way. And not only that, but then looking at my pantry and saying, oh, I can't feed my family for the next 6 months.
Yeah, this is it. This is what I got. Fuck. It's like probably like being on death row. You're going to die, but you just, it's coming, just not yet. It's horrible. Yeah, a very horrifying concept. But getting into kind of, I guess, where institutionalized cannibalism is probably more popular and talked about are the four people of Papua New Guinea. A lot of people, when you mention, cannibalism, or ritualistic cannibalism, because these people were eating people because they wanted to. They were actually, it was part of their funeral practice, was, when somebody died, they would eat you or eat parts of you, because they believed that by doing so, they could preserve your spirit, and then your spirit would go on and live forever. So grandma dies, I eat grandma, and then I die, my son eats me, and now it's grandma my mom, me, and we just continue forever and ever, in that way. Kind of beautiful. I'll give
It's
that
like
to 'em.
deeply honorific. Yeah.
It really is. It really is. So not all, terrible and awful. Of course, you've got the Aztecs who, go even further back. I mean, they had ritualistic cannibalism where they would, sacrifice a person, and then kind of the higher ups amongst them would, consume some of it. And this was all seen as very positive.
Yeah.
As far as we know, the sacrifices, they were all for it. They're like, hell yeah, eat me. And they're like, fuck yeah. And then they all feasted, It was good times back in the day. But what was interesting about the four people is that, specifically in New Guinea, is that they were kind of where we were like, something's up with this. Like, something's wrong. Because, we kind of start to evolve a little bit, and we kind of start to realize that there's something about our brains that kind of make up who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And not just that, modern science kind of started taking hold as well. And so they started eating a lot of brains, and that started making people, well, very sick. And they weren't dumb people. They'd eaten tons of brains, so obviously they're very smart. They're like, we got to stop this. Like, something's wrong. We shouldn't do this. And kind of eventually ruled it out over time. There are people that still think that the New Guinea tribes do still practice cannibalism.
Oh.
Fortunately, I guess, the idea of a cannibalistic tribe is not in modern day so much what people think it is. It's not so much holding people down and cutting them open and feasting them right then and there. It's more of like, they may make things out of your bones, skull bowls and, knives or, whatever out of your bones. And then they'll usually, a lot of tribes, they do cremation. They don't bury a lot of their people. They do burn them because it makes more sense to do that. It gets rid of the rotting corpse pretty quickly. But they'll use like the cremated, like the cremains and rituals and stuff like that. And some of those rituals are like spreading the ashes all over themselves, or even having a little taste of the ashes.
Did you, back in the day, ever watch My Strange Addiction?
I know exactly where you're going with this. And yes, I did.
There is an episode that sticks out for me anyway. It was season 2, episode 8, all the way back in 2011. There was a woman who would eat her husband's cremains.
Yeah.
Like, she was, and listen, if you've never seen My Strange Addiction, there were some episodes where you could not take it seriously. Like, there was a guy fucking a car, and he brought the car to his dad. There were some wild episodes.
My favorite was the person that was married to the amusement park ride. And not even just that. It was her. I think it was her. It was their second husband, like, or whatever. Like, their second marriage to one of these rides. And it's like, what happened to the first one? I'll never forget it.
Oh my goodness. Reality TV, like, in the early teens was just wild.
It was out there.
It was. But
there was that woman.
Particular episode, she was so, like, stuck in her grief that it was all she could do, really. She had lost something like 40 or 50 pounds because she was pretty much exclusively eating her husband's cremains.
Yeah, it was wild. And she's like, and one day I'm just gonna eat them all. And it's gonna be gone.
Yep.
What the fuck? I have a story. I've never shared this publicly, and I've only shared it with a very, very, very small group of people. And I'm not going to name any names because they honestly are very good people that was suffering through a very hard time.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in a situation where somebody had their cremains of their parents with them, and somehow accidentally the parent cremains got knocked on the floor, and they were all over the floor. And I tasted them, not by choice. It wasn't like I licked it. It was like, but like it was in the air, like, and it was.
Of course, yeah.
I was like, oh my god, I just ate someone. It felt very wrong. And even talking about it, I'm just shocked that I'm admitting this to people. But it happened, y'all, and you know what can you do? I mean, it was a total accident. But it didn't taste very good, and I can't imagine that woman doing it by choice all the time.
No.
What's my
No.
point? I mean, it's not. It's not like I tasted it and I was like, well, actually, that's pretty delicious. No, it was not good. It tastes exactly what you think, like ashes. It's it's not good at all. And it's not like smokiness, like you might have barbecue and you got smoke flavor. No, it's not like that. It's ashes. But yeah, no, that is definitely a type of cannibalism. A weird, but that's, like I said, that's more what modern day tribes, the type of thing they might do. They're not usually, there's tons of people that will like go off into one of these areas with one of these indigenous tribes and they'll go missing and people assume that they got caught by a cannibal tribe and eaten and blah blah blah. No, that's a form of racism to think that about these people. And we saw that a lot in the 70s and 80s with the Mondo cannibal movies. I don't know if you're familiar with any of them.
I'm not.
But a lot of them are like, I think probably one of the most popular one you'll hear about is Cannibal Holocaust, where, they actually went out and filmed with one of these South American tribes. And it's portrayed, it's actually, if you can stomach it, it's a very good movie. Not being a gore person, don't watch it. But it's about like this group of filmmakers that go out to make a nature documentary about these tribes and they end up going missing. And then eventually, this was like Blair Witch before there was Blair Witch. Eventually they find their footage.
Oh my gosh.
And watch it. Yeah. And they find out what really happened to them. And I won't spoil it for the people that haven't seen it. But no, if you can stand it, go watch it. But it does feature real animal deaths. They were working with a real South American tribe.
Wow.
So they would film them, killing these animals and they would eat them. But it's tough. It is a tough watch. And the director was actually held in Germany at one point because they were convinced that this was a real movie and these are real dead people. Yeah, super cool. So check that out if you're into it. But anyway, this was like a big thing at the time, was white people going to indigenous tribes in the jungle and being eaten by cannibals. Like that was the premise. And it is very, well, it's very racist. I mean, it really is. I mean, let's be real. A lot of the times when they were making these films, these directors, they were doing it for shock value, to make a quick buck. And it cost practically fucking nothing to go film with these tribes because they don't care about money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so it was very exploitative. And then, of course, made people afraid to go to these areas to care about these people at all in any type of capacity as far as like preserving their lands and things like that go, because they're just monsters, right? They're just savages. Well, savages is a very, that's a terrible term. You shouldn't use it.
It is. And you touch on a really good point here, which is human behavior that is considered acceptable. That exists in the context of the culture that you're in.
It does.
So, us in 2025, modern, we're both in the US. What we see as acceptable behavior shouldn't really play a role in any kind of judgment we would have on other people's cultures.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we live in the bubble of our own culture, and so do other cultures.
Well, and let's be real. In 2025, we can't even zoom out our scope in our own country to accept different cultures. So,
oh my God, I could scream.
Definitely can't take it outside of the U.S. Nothing else exists, just us. Okay?
Just us.
If you don't think like I do, then you're fucking wrong. Come on now. But no, you're absolutely right. That is exactly. So even if they were, bashing people's skulls in and eating their hearts, I mean, it's not really up to us to decide if that's ethical or not, because we just have absolutely no frame of mind to even begin to think of how that would be normalized to them, because we don't live that life.
Exactly.
But they
and
don't
it's
do
hard.
that, so.
It's hard too to kind of look through that lens, because it's like a primal knee-jerk reaction to be like, oh, holy shit, they're eating people.
Yeah.
Everybody has to think that's bad, right? And that's not how culture works.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. So just wanted to kind of get that out of the way now. If you guys were excited to hear about some remote tribe that's out there eating people, as far as we know, there isn't one. At least we don't have any we've got rumors, but there's no documentation of that happening anywhere in the world in modern day.
Nope.
So on to other types of cannibalism. Let's talk about survival cannibalism.
So I have a question for you as we approach this topic.
Yeah.
You went to school in the 90s. Were you in public school?
I was.
Yeah, me too. Did the Oregon Trail game have a chokehold on your school the way it did on mine?
You know what's so funny? You don't. So we're not on video, right? This is an audio podcast, right? I'm wearing an Oregon Trail t-shirt right now. It says,
you shut up. No, you're not.
We're getting dysentery. Yeah, sure am. Sure am.
Oh my gosh.
So I'd say no impact at all. Never heard
zero.
It.
Oh my goodness. So for anyone who doesn't know or didn't grow up with this, there was this 8-bit side scroller called the Oregon Trail, where you had to, basically it was a bunch of decisions that you had to make, and it was sort of luck based because it certainly wasn't skill based. You could make all the right decisions and you could still die of dysentery, or you could freeze to death. And it was such a difficult game, and it had these dark overtones of, like, as you just said, whoop, died of dysentery.
Yeah.
But here I was as like a 5 or 6-year-old in kindergarten, and I distinctly remember it was a floppy disk, and you would get like your 20 minutes to go into one of the 3 computers in the computer lab, and you would play this game.
Yeah. Yep. And it was educational.
Oh, it had such a chokehold on everyone in our age group that I talked to. Everyone played that game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All of us.
One of my comfort YouTube videos that I like to watch, because I don't have comfort. I have some very limited comfort shows, but I have comfort YouTubers. But one of them, his name is Brutal Moose, and he plays the Oregon, not just Oregon Trail, like he'll play like Oregon Trail adjacent games. So he'll play like the sequels, and like there's all kinds of different ones that are just similar but different time periods. Anyway, so I mean, even today, it affects my life. It's calming to me to watch him die of dysentery.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, yeah, the good days. Anyway, I get where you're going with it.
Yep. The reason, of course, I ask is because before I started doing any research into this topic and started diving deep into, what cannibalism is and what the different kinds are, the first thing and the loudest thing that popped into my mind was, oh my God, the Donner Party.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So I learned a lot about the Donner Party this week.
You're welcome.
Oh my goodness. So the Donner Party was actually the Donner-Reed wagon train incident of 1846.
Oh, Donner Party sounds way cooler.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the marketing was good to shorten that, because it's just, it's a mouthful. So imagine you are going to California from Illinois in this wagon train. It is the mid 1800s. The guy who was leading them, George Donner, he was 65 years old.
Holy shit. I didn't realize he was that old.
Right?
Oh my God. He's like ancient in that time.
Okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one who's thinking that, because when I read this, I was like, there's no way, right?
They probably thought he was immortal. This guy's a vampire. We gotta take him.
George is gonna live forever. Oh my goodness. But so they kind of started their trek from Illinois out to California. They started kind of late. They started in like mid-April, which doesn't sound very late, but it really speaks to how long, dragging a train of 23 wagons really is going to take over some really rough terrain.
Oh, yeah.
So they were running behind, and come May of that year, they had only made it to, I can't remember where they made it to, but they made it a little bit further west than Illinois, and they met up with another wagon train called the Hastings train. So their party grew to be 87 members and 23 wagons.
Wow.
And the main guy who led the Hastings caravan, he said, "Psst, hey, George, I know a shortcut."
Oh?
Mm-hmm. So Hastings said he knew a way to cut 150 to 500 miles off the trip.
What? That's huge for what they're doing.
It is. They're already running late. He says he's done it before. Now, just a spoiler alert, because, we're a couple hundred years out from this. The Hastings shortcut was not, in fact, a shortcut. It added 125 miles to the trip, and it went through some of the roughest terrain in the Sierra Nevada Pass.
What an asshole.
Right? If I had a tenth of that confidence, I would be fucking unstoppable.
I mean, I'd eat them too. I assume this is where this is going. You'd be the first one.
So they take this Hastings shortcut, and come October, the entire wagon train of 87 people becomes stranded. October was the first snow that year. They got snowed in, and they couldn't go any further. So they were stuck in, they actually did make it to California. It's now called Donner Lake, but it was at the time known as Truckee Lake. And that's where they made camp for the winter. Of the 87 people that were on the train, by the time they were rescued the following spring, there were 40 people that died.
Wow.
Yep. Oh, sorry. Just a little side note. There were 87 members originally. 29 men, 15 women, 43 children.
Oh my God.
43.
So how many of them that died were children?
I actually could not find a figure on that, but from reading some of the survivor accounts, a lot of the children made it.
Well, good for them.
Yeah.
The horrors, but still good for them.
So there are a lot of accounts about what happened at Truckee Lake, and a lot of archaeological evidence as well of all the things that the Donner Party did to try to avoid cannibalism. They were sucking on rawhides. They were boiling the hooves of their pack animals into glue and drinking it. They were even eating the dogs.
Oh, no. That Hernandez guy's not having none of that.
Hastings does not get any slop. No slop for you. The shocking thing about this, though, and maybe you are not going to be shocked by this, there is actually no evidence that anyone actually partook in cannibalism.
I did not know that.
It was very surprising to me. Now, of course, we have to think about this, right? Even with the story you just shared, who is going to raise their hand and say, "Yep, I ate him"?
Well, true. Yep, that's very true.
So, of course, with all the stigma around this, there's not going to be a lot of people necessarily forthcoming. But I think it's really telling how we know historically that there were these rumors of cannibalism.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, we only know what the survivors can tell us. And what the survivors say, there was one survivor named George McGlashan. He wrote a book in 1879 that detailed the ordeal. He mentions no one resorting to cannibalism. One of the Donner daughters wrote a book in 1911. She mentioned no cannibalism. And in fact, the only two people that really give accounts of cannibalism kind of just accused other people of it.
Oh.
So one was Margaret Breen. And she made a lot of very Salem's witch trial accusations of, I saw Mrs. So-and-so cooking up a leg in soup and serving it to the children.
Wow.
So she staunchly remained that her family would not partake in that. And the other account was from 4-year-old Georgia Donner. So she was 4 years old when this is happening. And she is the only surviving Donner that claimed anyone ate human meat. And she said she knew because the other children were telling that, their mothers were cooking these soups with it and serving it to them and saying, just drink it. Don't think about it. Just eat it.
Wow. Do you think that they were hiding it from each other while they were out there? I mean, do you think maybe some of them were and they were just like, it's a secret?
Well, see, I try to put myself in this position, right?
Oh.
Where you are trying to survive an absolutely horrible ordeal.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
You would do anything to survive. So I don't know.
You're drinking foot glue. I mean, come on. That's what it is.
What's one more step? But I find it really fascinating that they did not find evidence of knife scrapes on bones. They didn't find expected evidence of cannibalism. Again, hard to say because I get it. It's not something that you're readily going to admit to.
I mean, yeah. They had a little bit of knowledge. I mean, just boil that meat right off the bones and there's no evidence. That's falling off the bone right there. Make it nice and tender. God, I can't even imagine. I have to joke about it because it's really horrible.
It is
disgusting. I mean, frankly, but that is interesting that it is more of just a rumor. I thought for sure, maybe they had admitted to it or, we knew for sure, but,
yeah, same. Because again, it's the first thing in my mind that I thought of. I equate the Donner Party to cannibalism.
Right. Exactly. I mean, so that is, but it does fall in line with the one that I'm going to share.
Oh.
They do have something in common. So if you're ready, we can transition to that.
I am.
I want to talk about the Andes rugby team, or the Uruguay rugby team, and their survival and how they had to survive. So in October of 1972, a charter plane carrying 45 passengers crashed into the Andes Mountains. It was not good, but honestly, in the very beginning, not a lot of people were killed on immediate impact. Some were.
Sure.
But they had a good amount of people that survived. And if you don't know anything about the Andes Mountains, it is 12,000 feet elevation. It is cold as the fuck. There's no greenery whatsoever on these mountains. Those little mints, right? Those little Andes mints. Yeah, I mean they call them that, right? Because it's cold in the Andes Mountains.
Minty fresh.
Minty fresh. but the plane crashes and they were in the middle of motherfucking nowhere.
Ugh.
And just really, and, they looked around and, they would kind of see what there was and they're like, oh, there's nothing, but surely somebody will come looking for us.
Yeah.
And they were correct. People did come and look for them, but they did call off the search. I think it was like, God, it was like 12 days or something into, it wasn't very long into the search, but that was because while they were there, shortly after they had crash landed and they're trying to kind of, get themselves together a little bit, they have a fucking avalanche.
No.
Yep, they experience a fucking avalanche. So the avalanche comes out and the snow covers most of the plane, most of them. Yeah, and it just made it absolutely impossible to find them at all in the middle of nowhere. So they just presumed, oh, well, they all must be dead somewhere. Who knows? Maybe the plane fell into water. Who knows? They're dead. Even if they did crash in the Andes, there's no way they're surviving because it's such a hell. I'd say hellscape, but I suppose that's if hell froze over. In the Andes Mountains. And a lot of these people are very, they're very manly men, right? This is a rugby team.
Yeah.
With their families and, other people were on the flight as well. It wasn't just them, but a lot of them were them. And, they were definitely built for survival, but they didn't take this plane trip with like a picnic in mind. This was just supposed to be a very standard flight and they pretty much had absolutely nothing. Like you mentioned with the Donner, folks, they definitely resorted to alternative means to try to find some type of sustenance. They resorted to eating the seats of the plane.
Oh
Eating
my
the seats,
God.
eating the leather off the seats, eating the foam filling inside of the seats, in an attempt to try to survive. Of course, their water, they had snow all around them. That was like their, that was where they were getting it from. And then of course people were dying and people had died at that point and they're like, what do we do here? They kind of drug off the bodies to the side a little bit and kind of buried them in the snow.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we don't really have a choice but to partake. So they all kind of collectively came to that decision that in order for them to survive, they needed to go ahead and eat the flesh of the fallen. And they did. And I really want to cover this in its entirety in its own episode because it is modern day. Again, this is the
Yeah.
70s. And it is such a truly fucking fantastic story. The fact that any of these people survived at all is absolutely amazing. And of course, there's been 2 different movies now you can watch about it if you'd like to really get the scope of things that they went through. But they were out there and they were trying to come up with some type of escape plan. Their radio didn't work. So they weren't able to, they tried to fix it. They weren't able to. And they weren't really able to travel far to get to any type of civilization. They didn't even know where civilization might even be. They didn't
Right.
have a map, to even begin to understand what would happen. So, they kind of picked 2 of the guys and they were like, look, you're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to find something or someone or we're not going to make it. So what they would do to kind of build up strength for those guys is, well, they had bigger portion sizes. They
Yeah.
were kind of training up, in order to make this trek to, who knows, their own death, maybe, right? In order to try to seek some type of help. Otherwise, each and every single one of them was going to die. After over 2 months of them living like this,
2 months?
2 months in a snow-covered crashed plane in the Andes Mountains, eating each other. The 2 men that they appointed to go seek some type of something made their trek out, and after, I think their trek was like 3 days long, and after a couple of days, they did come upon a couple of cowboys, out riding their horses, who, told them, hey, we're out here, we need help, and they did end up getting help. 16 people ended up surviving out of the 45.
Oh my God.
Now, one of the women, she died like a week before before this happened because she absolutely refused to partake in the cannibalism. Wouldn't do it. She starved to death.
Yeah.
And I mean, starving to death, we didn't talk about that with the Donner Party. Let's talk about it for a second. I mean, think of the hungriest you've ever been in your entire life. Like, you honestly have no idea how torturous it is to go through something like starvation. It's
No.
really horrible. Your body starts to eat itself. So it starts pulling, from every single thing that it can in order to have some type of nutrients. It is extremely painful. Like I said, you think of like the hunger pains or whatever. You get to the point like you're so hungry where like then you start to feel sick and nauseous. And it's like, oh, I'm too hungry now. I can't eat everything, but I'm going to. Except that moment never comes because your only option for eating everything is like, your wife.
Oh my, and think about the mental side of it too, right?
Oh yeah.
Because she is starving and there are people around her presumably cooking some kind of meat. Like,
yeah.
Oh my
That took
goodness.
a lot of willpower for her not to succumb to it. Really, it did. Not that the other people are bad for doing so.
No.
They're not.
No.
But I can't. But that's how much our instincts tell us don't do this.
Yes.
So anyway, the similarities I was going to mention. We were talking about how the Donner Party. We don't really know. It didn't come out that they cannibalized people until later. Like that was something that eventually I don't remember exactly how it ended up coming to light. I just think that they were getting so much press at the time, of course, because they just survived this really horrific event. And I don't remember who exactly broke the story, but once one of them dead, all of them kind of in a bit of solidarity were like, yeah, we did that. Because I mean, they knew, this is very shameful, and they weren't going. I don't think any of them were going to admit it at first. I think they would have taken that to their grave. And eventually, like I said, thankfully, one person just couldn't stand it, and they said, yeah, we were eating each other. And then everybody else was like, I can't let you go down like that.
And there's a certain unity in that, right? Because to your point earlier, it's shameful, of course, but also I think every single one of us gets it.
Yeah.
Because the drive to survive, people do incredible feats of strength, of oh my God, the word's eluding me. Stamina.
Sure.
Like these incredible feats of stamina, strength, whatever. This is up there, right? Getting over the fact that you are eating another human being who can't survive so you can survive.
Yeah, and so people talked about this a lot. I mean, again, you're not talking, the Donner Party back in the fucking, what was that, the 1800s? It was further than
1840s.
that. Oh, 1840s, okay.
Yep.
We're talking about the 1970s where people knew this story. People were talking about it. People were sharing it. It was shared on TV. We had TV, right? It was spreading all over the place. And of course, everybody had opinions on what they thought about the cannibalism. And, frankly, fuck your goddamn opinion.
Yeah.
When it comes
if you haven't lived it, fuck you.
Exactly. And,
you don't get one.
So there were people that clearly people were very disturbed by that little factoid that came out. But for the most part, I think the general community really made a conscious effort to make sure that these people could live with themselves because, put yourself in that position. Now you have to go back to normal everyday life and live with yourself, knowing that you're your best friend.
Yeah.
Because again, this is the majority of them are a sports team. These are friends. These aren't strangers.
Yeah.
And so even like the Catholic Church made an official announcement that God forgives them, that it's okay.
Wow.
Yep, that they ate people because they had to. They didn't have a choice. So it was a huge deal. It was a really huge deal when the story came out. Like I said, I think it'd be really cool to talk about the whole thing one day, but
that would be.
Because I just can't even. I would just die. I just laid in the snow and be like, it's over. I'm not even gonna try. Like, you can eat me. I don't care. It's whatever.
Oh.
And, that's the thing about it, is that a lot of them, like, because people were dying, like, as this is happening. Like, not all of them died on impact, clearly, and some people were just dropping off because they had injury. Like, one person got real bad gangrene, and it was terrible. And they would talk about it before they died. They'd be like, I want you to eat me.
Yeah.
It would, like, give them permission. And so, which, of course, I don't know, who knows, that part could be completely made up, but that's what they all said, and who am I to question them and what their experience was. But yeah, there's nothing, again, in that type of situation, I think most of us kind of agree you don't have any other choice and you get a pass. It's okay. It's not weird.
Yep.
So survival cannibalism, it's intense, to have to make that decision. So let's kind of pivot a little bit and talk about what everybody wants to hear about. You guys all want to hear about the dirty cannibalism. I get it. People that have no excuse. They are sexual deviants, and they do it because they're just fucking sick.
Can I just kick this one off with a throwback?
Yeah, please.
Back in Victorian times, it was very common to, we talked about it a little bit with medicinal cannibalism, like for like, trying to heal ailments by eating, similar body parts. If you have a heart problem, you eat a heart, kind of thing. But the one that pisses me off, and I straight up in my notes, I called it fetish cannibalism.
Okay.
The Victorian mummy eaters.
Yeah, let's talk about this, because this was a new one when you sent the notes over. I never heard of that.
Oh, okay. So, rich Victorian socialites used to have unwrapping parties of mummies stolen from Egypt, imported into their countries, sometimes by catalog. There were straight up catalogs that said, hey, buy a sarcophagus, it comes with the mummy. Wow. And they would unwrap and eat mummified archaeological remains, destroying them in the process.
That's really disgusting. Like, that makes me sick. It's rotten.
Like, I refuse to put that under the medicinal cannibalism part of my notes, because no, I'm sorry. You are being a rich aristocrat and absolutely decimating someone's history. And for what?
It reminds me of the Warden and Human Centipede 3.
Oh my. Again, listeners, as we said at the top, I am not a gore fan. I can't do the Human Centipede, so I have no idea what you're talking about with the Warden, but it takes place in a prison this time, and the warden of the prison wants to sew the prisoners together ass to mouth as punishment, right? And that's the big kicker of the movie. It's a 500-person centipede. Jesus Christ!
And the warden's just a sick fucking guy, and he's got this jar of things that he eats, and you find out later that they're clitorises.
Ah! Oh my god. That's going to be a fun edit. Sorry.
Because it's one of the, it's like rich asshole thing. Like, it's not like, that's why he does it. And it's like, it reminds me of that.
Yep. Yeah. No, I think that sums it up beautifully. Rich asshole behavior.
Yeah. That's really gross. Like, it's one thing to be gross and be cannibals. It's another thing to straight up eat a rotten fucking body.
Yep.
Like, did they get sick? Did it make him sick a lot?
It has to, right?
It has to.
I would think it has to, but of course, if that did happen, it happened behind closed doors.
I mean, diarrhea was a death sentence still at that time,
Very, very true. Very true.
So they would just eat them because, like you said, for like, right? I hate my nose, so if I eat this mummy's nose, my nose will be pretty.
Well, that's how it started. It started as like to treat ailments, but then it became this fetishized thing just for rich people of like, ooh, I want to eat an ancient Egyptian and then I'll be whatever, strong, rich, brave.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's that would certainly make my Halloween party this year that much more exciting. What is wrong with people?
Did I tell you I have to RSVP no to that?
Oh, you sure? You could become rich and brave.
But of course, there are more modern examples of this, like, I don't know, criminal or dirty cannibalism.
Oh, just okay. I get what you're doing. Segue into. I was like, what?
Transition, Asher's transition.
I totally missed my mark there. I'm just like, what are we transitioning to?
Ooh, what next?
My bad. No, that is super good. Well, I just hold on. So is that where like private collection mummies come from? Is just because you could just buy them for? I mean, was that like the sole market was for like these rich asshole parties, and some of them would just keep them?
Yeah, so straight up, there are pictures of catalogs from back in the day, and you could buy one-off sarcophagi straight up with the mummy still in it. And that's how a lot of these private collections were built, just by mail-ordered catalogs. And some were, just to be kept as display pieces, or people wanted a part of, a history that wasn't their own. But some of these people went the extra step and destroyed corpses for no other reason than to eat them.
Gosh. I want to talk about like the body trade at some point, especially because it's still very much alive and well.
Oh yeah,
in this day and age. But yeah, I suppose we'll get into it at that point. Wow. Okay. Well, if you think it's bad now, just wait. It's gonna get worse and then better. Why don't we go ahead and switch gears? Let's talk about one of your notes, Armin Mivas.
Oh,
yep. Armin Mivas is a very impactful cannibal. Super interesting situation because he had a willing participant.
He did. And we know the participant was willing because there's an entire video of the ordeal.
The whole thing. So Armin Mivas was a very interesting character. We did cover him on the podcast in its entirety at a way earlier episode back in the day. But just to kind of give the recap, he was an interesting, eccentric gentleman from Germany who had a fantasy of eating somebody. He wanted to eat someone. And he found the perfect place to do that, which was Cannibal Cafe. I think it was .com. Maybe it was .org or .gov.
Stop it. Straight, short, to the point. Cannibal Cafe.
It was Cannibal Cafe. It was a website where people could get on, and essentially most of it, I'd say like 99% of it, was just people role playing. Okay, so you had the cannibals, and then you had the cannibally victim. You had people that had a fantasy of eating people, and then you had people who wanted to be eaten, which is, again, that's also probably another episode in and of itself.
Yes.
Very interesting fetish, not mine, but I don't kink shame. And, so he got on there and he put out an ad looking for, a young fit man to kill and cannibalize. And tons. And he got like something crazy, like over 200 responses or something nuts like that. I think it was like almost 200.
Oh my gosh.
And people were like, yeah, I'm here for it. But they weren't serious. They were just like, oh yeah, talk dirty to me. And they just wanted to do like the role play thing. And but Armin, he was deadly serious about this. So he was getting really, super fed up, super annoyed because people, thought that he was just playing into the fantasy and he was not. But eventually he did get a serious responder. I mean, he would have people that would go as far as to be like, okay, I'm going to show up on this date. Look for me. He'd buy them tickets to come, train tickets or whatever to come see him so they could do the thing. And then they would ghost him. But eventually, he did find a willing participant. And I can't remember the guy's name. Oh, my God.
He was Bernd Jürgen Brandes.
Thank you. Bernd Brandes. He was like, yeah, I'll do it. Fuck yeah, totally down. And I think that they did have a lot of back and forth, before on the early internet, before fully committing to it. But I mean, you guys know where this is going. Byrne goes and he gets on his train and he shows up to Armin's house and they hung out for quite a while, did lots of drugs. And Byrne did. I don't think Armin did. But they drank and they talked and they hung out together and it was kind of a nice time. But Byrne was kind of getting impatient. He's like, "Can we fucking hurry this up? Like, I'm trying to die here." And Armin's like, "Sorry, I thought we'd like kiss or something first."
Trying to savor this,
right? And he's like, "No, dude, just hurry up." But they would have not too long of an encounter. Maybe a couple. 2 days tops, while alive. Armin did film the whole thing because he was concerned about the legal potential repercussions from it. In Germany, it's not illegal to eat someone, but it is illegal to kill someone. And so that's where things kind of got shaky in this case as a whole, and we're going to get there in just a second. So after a while, Byrne's like, "Hey, what if you cut my dick off and we ate it together?" Actually, his suggestion was, "What if you bit my dick off and then we ate it together?"
Oh.
Yeah, he wanted to bite it off. And so Armin tried to bite it off and he was unsuccessful. Dicks are hard, if you didn't know, if you've never seen one or touched one or played with one. Especially when they're in your mouth. They're usually hard. Or at least halfway there, right? So he had a really difficult time biting through it. So at that point, he's like, "Just cut it off. It's fine." So we did. He cuts it off, and he starts frying it up in a pan to cook for each other, but he burnt it.
Oh, that is the part that, you try to take this seriously, but, he was frying it up with butter and garlic, and Armin fucking burnt it!
Yeah. He burnt. Burned. That's horrible. But you know what? He would love that joke because he wanted it.
He would appreciate that.
Listen. So they still tried to eat it, but it just wasn't. It was not good. They didn't have a good time. So they were like, "Well, this didn't go well. Whatever." And Brandes is like, "Well, I guess take me to the bathtub. I'll go bleed to death." And he's like, "Yeah, cool." So he did. He took him to the bathtub and let him hang out in there while he's doing drugs or he's fucked up on his drugs and he's bleeding to death. And Armin sat and read the entirety of a Star Trek novel.
I love the detail that it's a Star Trek novel.
Well, because come on, look at him. He's definitely a Trekkie.
100%.
He's got Trekkie energy all day long.
Can I tell you something horrible?
Yeah.
I had never seen a picture of Armin Meiwes before doing this research. I'd heard about him, never saw a picture. He looks kind of like one of my coworkers. And now I can't unsee it. That's just my little sidebar of now, this cannibalism story is just looking at me in the face at 8 a.m. every single morning for the foreseeable future.
You should invite him to your house for a weenie roast. Don't burn it.
I know what I'm bringing to the next work potluck.
He looks just so nerdy and normal.
Yes.
Because you think German, you think of big burly scary man, and no, he's I could fight him, right? He could. Well, which is probably why he needed a willing participant, right? He wouldn't fight nobody to kill.
Well, and that's the thing, and I'm sure we'll get into this in a bit, but he actually had another participant make it as far as coming to his home and laying down on the table where like he wanted to butcher this person, and the guy said like, "Oh, I don't feel so good. Can I go?" And you let him go.
Right, totally respects consent.
Yeah.
Like, how many men do you know that can do that? Not a lot. And they're not cannibals, I think, I hope.
Hard to say after this episode, but
no, he's genuinely he's a good dude. It's weird to say that, but he is. And so anyway, Brandis, he bleeds to death eventually, and Mivus takes his body, takes him into the basement where he prepares him, and then stores his meat, in various, in his little freezer or whatever, and eats it. Proceeds to eat it over the course of the next year. Ate all of them.
Yeah.
So this is also just fun trivia. This is one of those pieces of lost media because the courtroom definitely had to watch all of that video.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So it definitely exists. If you are that type of person, you can't find the full video, but you can find some stills from that video of Brandis in various parts and pieces. So that's a little fun fact for you. Don't go looking for it if you aren't prepared, guys. I'm so fucking serious when it comes to gore stuff. Do not go look for it if you can't. But if you're interested, it is out there. So anyway, after he eats all of his body, he's hungry again. He's looking for his next meal. So he jumps back on his old reliable cannibal cafe, and he's looking for people. And in his search of looking for people again, he starts disclosing to people that he's already done this before, and here's how it went. And, he wants to make it very clear that he is not in the business of harming somebody. He wants a willing participant.
Yep.
And so he, this freaks people out because they're like, "Oh yeah, you've done it before. Yeah, I've been eaten before." And he's like, "No, really, I have a video." And they're like, "Wait, you guys are fucking serious." And the internet did the right thing this time, and they actually reported him to local authorities who, he pretty much confessed right away. He's like, "Yeah, I ate the guy. He wanted it.
Yeah.
Here's our chat logs. Here's the video. Here, I did not hurt him in any way, shape, or form, aside from when I tried to bite his dick off and it didn't work, but he wanted that too." And they really didn't know what to make of this situation. It was really the first, real case of something like this happening in the world. What do you do when the person is a willing participant in their own death? Who's accountable for that? Surely somebody has to be. And then he ate the fucking guy, and that's not normal. It's not illegal, but it's not right. So they really had no clue, how to handle the situation, but he did. He went through trial, and he was not found guilty of murder the first time. Actually, his first sentence was pretty light.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
It was manslaughter, and he was given 8.5 years.
And that's pretty good. For killing or for eating someone. He didn't kill anybody, but he did eat someone.
Yeah, for consensual cannibalism, for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. That's not bad. But he decided to fight it because, again, it was very much 100% consensual. And when he went to go fight it again, he pushed it too far, and they still didn't find him guilty of murder, did they? I think it was still manslaughter or something.
Manslaughter still.
And then they ended up giving him life in prison at that point.
Yep.
And I don't know if they pushed his luck. I am not really sure. I can't justify that in my mind. I'm not saying that it's totally cool what he did, because it's still icky and I have all the ick, but I don't think it deserves a life in prison.
I keep putting myself in the jury of a case like this, and I would have such a hard time where there is clear, not only written consent, but video of the consent that I want this.
And it's weird and it's not for me, but Where's the fault?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I struggle with this one because who am I to judge what someone else wants?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to bat an eye if I say, "Oh, I want to be cremated when I die."
Well, that's true. Yeah. But some people would be like mortified by that thought.
Yep.
So like you were saying, culturally, we can't really sometimes it's just not our business. And this one I would be like, yeah, this is not my business. It's just not. Let me see the video. We'll decide then. And then, after watching, watching the whole thing, right? Because you'd look for signs. If there was any sign at all that man wanted out at any point in time, then it's like, okay. But there wasn't, according to everybody. I mean, it's just the fact that it was real fucking weird. So they tried him for life, charged him and put him in prison for life. And that man is a vegetarian now.
He is. He sure is.
That's not like a joke or us being funny. Like, that's real.
No. Nope, he became a vegetarian in prison.
I don't, and to me, it's like he did it because he can't stand the thought of animals being hurt. Because he's just such a nice fucking guy. I don't know if that's why, but like he is super nice.
I just struggle with this one again because you look at a picture and he's just this Star Trek nerd.
He's a fucking Trekkie. He's your awkward uncle that never got married.
Yes.
He's just weird.
He's into some weird shit, but like,
I mean, I don't know. I think he should be out, but that's me. He's still alive. I think. I'm pretty sure he's still alive.
I mean, it would make sense with the time. Plus, now he's a vegetarian. He's got a good heart. He's low cholesterol.
Super healthy. Gosh. Well, let's go a little darker, a little deeper. We'll talk a little bit about Jeffrey Dahmer, because I don't think you can talk about cannibalism without Dahmer.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the most cannibals in the entire world. I'm not going to spend too much time on him. I think we all know who Dahmer is. Jeffrey Dahmer killed 17 men and boys and did really horrific things to their body, including but not limited to cannibalism, necrophilia, attempted zombie experiments. He would pose their bodies in various fucked up ways and take horrible Polaroid pictures of them. He was trying to make an altar out of the skulls of the people that he killed. It was real fucking weird. Real fucking weird. Lots of rumors about Dahmer. There's this one documentary that I watched on him, and it's like from the perspective of the neighbors from his famous, not hotel, but apartment that he lived at. And
yeah.
They're talking about how like Dahmer would like come by and he'd be like, "Oh, I made everybody some sandwiches," and they, right. And in hindsight, they're like, "It did taste weird," but he never admitted defeat. He was actually very open about who he was, why he did it after his arrest, which was, horrific what he did, but very important that he was as open about the situation as he was, because it really helped us kind of understand people like him and, of course, try to get ahead of it, now.
Yeah, in the future.
In the future. Going forward, we don't need any more Dahmers in the world. When he talked about consuming their bodies, one of his issues, he has like really extreme abandonment issues and like rejection issues. And that was kind of his whole motive behind all of it. Alongside closeted homosexuality, and then of course, raging alcoholism. He had a lot of issues, but the biggest reason why he did what he did was as a way to kind of keep them with him forever. So I don't think that he was like making up full meals and he's like, it's delicious, and sitting down and really hanging out with it. But he did it, like I said, as a way to kind of spiritually, never be rejected by them, always have them forever and ever in his body. Fucking weird.
I did not know that.
About Dahmer? Well, he
Yeah.
would keep their corpses for a pretty long time, and I mean, he would like cuddle with them and stuff. I mean, he had sex with them too, and that's real gross. But yeah, he would like cuddle up with them, and like I said, he would pose them in weird positions and take pictures. Like he had, like that's how the cops found out about him, is because they found his Polaroids.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, and he was in the middle of trying to kill some guy and he escaped, so he went and got the police. That whole thing. But really, I mean, but then they go in to search his apartment, and I mean, there was a dead body right in his bedroom. Like I believe it was in his bed. But they found his Polaroids, and they're like, "What the fuck? This place smells terrible. There's a fucking body in here." And then they started finding, like, they found like various body parts in the fridge and all the skulls, and it was just it was a mess. It was a mess. It was
Wow.
dark. But yeah, no, that's why he did it. He had extreme rejection and abandonment problems, which stemmed from his parents being not very present parents, frankly. So pay attention to your kids, y'all.
Yes.
It's important. I'm going to take it one step further, a little bit darker. This is as dark as it's going to get it. This is the fucking trenches of cannibalism, and then we're going to start going back to the fun stories. As I suppose. Because like I said, Dahmer didn't do it because he just simply liked the taste of human flesh. But there is a cannibal that did do it because he liked the way it tasted so much. And that's Albert Fish.
Yes.
Now, this man is like, I mean, if you think Hitler's bad, read about Albert Fish. Like,
oh my gosh.
Awful. Fucking terrible. Albert Fish was an extreme sexual deviant. He pretty much engaged in every single form of sexual deviancy that you can think of. I think that probably one of the most notable things that people know him for are the amount of pins that he had inside of his groin, where he would have other people, sometimes his own kids, stick these pins in his groin, like deep into the skin, and they just disappear.
Oh.
And they were there, and to his death, yeah. There's actually a rumor, and it is just a rumor, that he was put to death by electric chair. They said that there was a malfunction because of the pins in his groin. That didn't happen. I wish it did, though. He deserved it. He deserved. But honestly, he'd probably like it. I mean, but when he was put to death, he was excited to get the electric chair.
Oh wow.
He was like, "This is going to be the bee's knees, buddy." He didn't say that, but it'd be cooler if he did. But he pretty much did. He was like, "This is like the ultimate pleasure." Like that was like his last words. He's like, "Thanks, guys. Thank you. Really, genuinely."
Oh my gosh.
Because he's just really a terrible person. He would have his children beat him and electrocute him with cattle prods, and I mean all kinds of terrible stuff. And not just his children. There were like sometimes, instances of him having different partners, different young prostitutes that he would have, engage in these acts with them and stuff. But his worst offenses of all, the absolute one of the sickest things that you'll ever read in your entire life, is a letter that he wrote to the family of one of his victims.
Oh no.
So we don't really know how many children Albert Fish killed, but he killed children, and he killed children, as he stated, specifically to cook and eat them.
Oh.
He was a very unsuspecting person at the time that he was caught. He was just a very frail man, and just, super quiet, actually super charismatic at times. But, he was caught because he ended up abducting 4-year-old Grace Budd from her family home. He posed as a farmer and actually showed up to the home in an attempt to hire their son. They had like a teenage son, and although I don't think he was going to eat the son, I think that he probably was going to attempt to solicit him for sex.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of his sexual partners were young male prostitutes, child prostitutes, basically. But he shows up, and their 4-year-old daughter is there, and he took a fancy to her and decided that he was going to eat her. And so he takes her, he's like, "Hey, I've got this birthday party for my granddaughter or whatever. Maybe your daughter could come with me." And they're like, "Yeah, that's fine."
No.
and she left, and they never saw him again. And then I think it was like a year later, he writes this horrific letter that explains exactly what he did to little Grace. He explains how he cut her up, how he roasted her buttocks, how he prepped it, and how great and amazing and grand and delicious it was. But he did say he did not rape her. He gave them that reassurance.
Oh.
It was horrific. And that's not the worst part of it all. What's really interesting, I'm going to segue for a second and talk about one big part of the letter that he writes about.
Yeah.
He writes about this old friend that he has who was, I believe he was the friend was allegedly in the Navy
Mm-hmm.
and had spent a lot of time in China. And he says that this friend, and he does mention a name, he gives him Captain something something. And he says that this friend in the Navy, while he was stationed in China at the time was going through such a severe famine that they were eating kids. And that they were like pulling kids off the street. And like it was so widely accepted that you could walk into a butcher shop and pick your cut off of a dead child's body.
What?
Yeah. And he said that from this, the sailor friend, the captain friend, he got a taste for children. And then the sailor friend comes back home and he can't stop thinking about how delicious that human meat was. And so he himself abducts 2 young boys, holds them captive in his closet, fattens them up, but also beats them daily to tenderize the meat because the buttocks is the best part. And then eventually cooks and eats both of them. So for a long time into my foray into true crime and all that stuff, I couldn't believe this other story that he was telling. The Grace Budd letter is fucking horrific, and there is a saving grace. The saving grace is that her parents couldn't read. Thank fucking God.
Oh, that's good.
But who's this Captain Sailor friend? What the fuck is that story? Were there really kids just being eaten in China? Like, is that real? So I did a bunch of digging into it, and I could not find any historical evidence of anything said in that letter. And so the reality is that there have been really bad famines in China. Albert Fish was a reader. He liked to read a lot. And there have been historical famines where they have eaten children, but not any time kind of, in that time period. So it could have been something that he was exposed to at one point. And that story of him abducting the 2 boys, it was probably him.
Yeah.
And, they think that he may have killed upwards of like 200 children and eaten them.
200. So remind me, what time period was this again?
This was, I believe, early 1900s. I have a computer in my pocket here, and I'm just stalling for time while I Google this. So this was, he was born 1870. He died in 1936.
Okay, yeah.
So that time period, modern enough, but not too modern. Thank God. This guy is far and away from us.
Yes.
But yeah, no, really, really horrific. And again, his whole obsession, while he did have, again, a streak of horrific sexual deviancy, and probably some of the cannibalism was into that, he seemed to genuinely enjoy the way it tastes.
Wow.
And it's just fucking awful. He was only ever convicted of 2 murders, Grace and another little boy that you can read his testimony. He describes that in horrific detail. He likes his details. It is fucking jarring. So there are definitely people out there who, it seems to be they develop a taste and they like it. That's where that is. So ready to start bringing it back upwards. Let's go to the upward swing.
Dear God, yes.
Let's go back up the hill, but let's go up the little hill this time.
All right.
I don't know how to say his name, and I could have Googled it, but I didn't. But he's Japanese. I'm gonna say it's Essie Sagawa. I think it's Essie. Essie Sagawa. I'm gonna call him Sagawa from here forward.
That sounds good. I believe that.
Sagawa is the only cannibal celebrity that we seem to have ever had. Like
Celebrity.
a celebrity. He's the cannibal celebrity. Plagued by his own hatred for himself, Sagawa had experienced cannibalistic fantasies ever since he was a small child. And when I say small child, I do mean small. Sagawa grew up to only be a 4'9" man.
Oh.
Very small, very skinny, very meek. He was born premature, very premature, and so that kind of course, stunted his growth. He had a whole bunch of other physical issues as a small child, which contributed to his lack of confidence in his social situations. But when he was very young, he says that, he spotted one of the boys in the classroom and he spotted his thigh, and he thought, that looks delicious.
Oh.
But he's not gay. He's not gay. As a matter of fact, he ended up developing a fetish for Western women, specifically tall Western women, later on in life. And that was something that he kind of ran with. He often had fantasies of cannibalizing these women. He would have plans, as a matter of fact, of attempting to, like at one point he broke into a woman's home and was going to just kind of cut a piece off of her body and then take it with him.
Just like cut and run?
Yeah, cut and run. Yeah. Just cut off a titty and run. But he chickened out. He was too afraid. He was, though, at one point, he attempted to rape a woman, or he did rape a woman. I can't remember which one. It doesn't matter because his wealthy father made sure that he got off scot-free. So he did have a rape charge before what we're about to get into.
There it is. Yep.
And his daddy bailed him out of it. Eventually, he moves to France. He's from Japan. Eventually, he moves to France, and he attends school there and meets one of his classmates, Renee Hardevelt. And he invited Renee Hardevelt to his apartment for dinner.
Uh-huh.
And she sits at his desk, and she is reading from a book of poetry at his desk, and he shoots her in the back of the head.
Oh, Renee.
Just totally had no clue, because he was probably so unimposing.
Yep. You can't be threatened.
Right. You just would not even think, and he took the easy way out. He says that he initially had passed out from the shock of actually killing her. And then it was kind of the idea that you've made it this far, you have to finish this. That kind of aroused him and woke him up. When I say aroused, not sexually, which there was. Anyway, we're getting there. So he wakes up. He has a romp with the corpse. He rapes her corpse. And then proceeds to start trying to take bites out of her skin directly, but he learned the Armin way. He couldn't do that. It wasn't a penis, but it turns out skin is also hard and chewy. It's rather difficult to bite into human skin, which is good for us, right?
Honestly, it makes Mike Tyson a little bit more impressive.
It's super tough, right? And he bit through cartilage. I mean, but his jaw was sore after that, I'm sure. So he had to leave for a little bit. He had to go get some knives. He didn't really own any. And he came back and he started cutting into different parts of her body and sampling them, some cooked, some not cooked.
I'm sorry. He didn't own any knives?
No, he didn't. No.
There's not being prepared, but then there's not being prepared.
I don't think he honestly thought he had it in him to go through with this.
Oh, you know what? That makes sense.
Because, the passing out and stuff, he was like, oh shit, I can do it.
I did this.
Wow, here we are. Better go get some knives. So he ends up taking pieces from her breast, her face, her buttocks, her feet, her thighs, and her neck. He did cut off her clitoris and he swallowed it whole.
Now, one story with this I can handle, but this is coming up twice now.
Twice in a night, yeah. Lucky, it's your lucky day. For anybody that claims that they can't find it, it is apparently in the stomach of men who are too, oh my God, what's that word? Where you're really spoiled. Well, let's just say that, but there is a word. Affluent, when you're really affluent. That's
Forget
really
the
all.
little man in the canoe. Just go straight to the stomach.
They're all there. Ah, gosh. Well, anyway, so he took the parts of her that he wanted to eat, and he did. He ate them, and then cut up the rest of her, and opted to. He saved some pieces, of course, for later when he had the munchies at 2 a.m. And he split her body up, the remains of it, into 2 different suitcases, and then attempted to go take those suitcases and dump them at a local park.
Hmm.
And again, he's 4'9" with 2 big old suitcases, struggling with them. With a woman who was, I think she was 5'9". Like she was
Oh,
a
wow.
big woman, yeah. And so of course he got fucking caught, dumbass. And he deserves it, So he gets caught right away. They take him and they arrest him and they put him in French prison. And by the French authorities, they found that he was legally insane. He was not legally competent to stand trial. He was guilty by reason of insanity, so they went ahead and institutionalized him from there. And he spent about 2 years in the French mental institution when France decided to deport his ass back to his home country of Japan. They're like, you can't be here. And they sent him back to Japan. And when they did that, and he was at the Japanese mental institution, well, they found that he was actually not insane. He was mentally competent, and he had just done this due to, well, guess what? Extreme sexual deviancy.
No shit.
But here's where he got lucky. Because the French had deemed him legally insane, whenever they were done with his trial, they sealed his records. And could not release them to the Japanese authorities. So they couldn't hold him. So,
Oh my God.
just 5 years after the murder and consumption of Renee, Sagawa was a free man in 1986. So he gets out of prison, and he is an instant celebrity. Everybody wants him for everything. They want to interview him for their newspaper. They want to get him on the radio. They want to get him on the television. Everybody and anybody wants to get a piece of Sagawa. Okay. And they want to talk to him. And he ended up doing, a ton of appearances. This ended up being his job, because nobody else, he couldn't really work anywhere else. He did try eventually, but they were like, fuck no. But he ended up writing a ton of books. He ends up writing a book on like another Japanese serial killer at one point in time, and he writes his own book about his own experiences and why he did it and what it was about. And he wrote restaurant reviews for a Japanese publication called Spa.
Stop it.
No, that's real.
Restaurant reviews.
That's real. He starred in a pornography, inspired by his crime.
Stop.
It's real.
What?
And, all the while, for the most part, like, again, he can't hold a regular job. And, how could he, right? Listen, I get it. I get it. He should be 6 feet under. I completely understand where you guys are coming from, but he's not, and he's out in society. And what the fuck is this guy supposed to do? Right? He's got to do something, and he probably enjoyed it. Let's be real. He's probably all about that life.
Of course.
But he couldn't work anywhere else. So, between all of those appearances and all of those things that he's doing and all that porn he's making, he's also living off of daddy's money.
Yep.
Because he's got a wealthy father. Well, his dad passes away in 2005. And so his gravy train is kind of gone. He did get, some money from the death, but I don't think it was nearly as much as he expected it to be. And he ended up having to go on welfare. And he really became the lowest of the low, because, eventually, you're like, at first you're like, yeah, tell us about that time that you ate that girl. And he's like, oh, here's my story. And you're like, fuck yeah. And then eventually it gets to the point to where you know, people are like, oh, the story about where you ate the girl, they're bored.
Yeah.
So anyway, he ends up dying in 2022. But that is, pretty much the story of the celebrity cannibal.
Can I give you my hot take?
Please.
I feel like this story of Sagawa is part of the reason Mavis got such a bad retrial.
Yes, I agree with you. You're right. I agree
Right?
with
It's
you.
like, I'm sorry. He shot a woman in the back of the
He
head.
killed someone. Right. He's an asshole. Oh, I didn't even mention he took pictures. So you know how like Armin, like he did like a video or whatever, but it wasn't like for fun. It was more for like documentation to prove
like,
that like
cover your ass, kind of.
Right. Sagawa took photos of him during the process of eating her body. There's a fucking photo of him like he's squatting completely naked, and he's got a fork in one hand and a knife in the other with a big smile on his fucking face.
Oh, what a mental picture. Oh,
It's
dear.
disgusting. And he gets to walk free.
Yeah, I'm sorry. All I can think after putting these two stories together is that was the reason they were like, now we got to put him away.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Well, Germany doesn't want to be known for the place that lets cannibal roam free. I mean, they don't want
the celebrity cannibal.
Yeah, they got enough heat. We can't have this scandal here. So they were like not even beginning to touch that. Like, we see how it's working for that guy. No way. No, I agree with you. I mean, they were definitely roughly, well, his was before Armin's story. So yeah, I think that certainly could be, an influence there. Because people are just like, yeah, that's fucking, we're not doing that. We're not having him giving restaurant reviews around Germany. He's not going to review our schnitzel.
It's like the Gordon Ramsay meme. It's fucking raw. That's a good thing.
Oh, that's terrible, but that's good. That's good. It's okay. Like I said, this is the upswing. We're on the upswing.
Yes.
Let's talk about more consensual cannibalism.
Oh.
So this story comes from a Reddit user that goes by the name of Incredibly Shiny Shart. All one word.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Strong start.
And you can, folks at home, follow along. Pull up Reddit, Google, or type in Incredibly Shiny Shart. You'll find him. He shares the story about how, I believe it was 2015, he was in a really bad motorcycle accident. Super, super debilitating, where he all but mangled one of his legs.
Oh. And,
they had tried to make it work again, and it wasn't working. It just wasn't. So the doctors gave him the option. They're like, look, we can amputate it. It's pretty much useless. And he's like, okay, but can I keep it? And they were like, yes and no. So here's the thing about like your body parts from the hospital. You're not supposed to be able to keep them.
Really?
You're not. It is, I mean, it's biohazardous waste, right? We don't know what you're going to do with them. Probably exactly for this guy, but most of them, it's not standard for you to keep them. However, you can fight that, and you can get, so there's like different like religious exemptions where like you could like check them out. So like if you get something like your leg amputated, and you wanted it to be buried with you, I mean, you can have it preserved to where, you have that option, or you can get it cremated. So that way, when the rest of your body gets cremated, you can all be together.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So those parts, can ultimately get released to you. But for the most part, they're not just like, yeah, I'm not just going to give you your uterus just because you want it. Like, which I think is fucking rude. It's mine. Like,
that's what kind of shocks me. It feels like one of those things where inherently, like, that belongs to you, so why the fuck not?
Right. It's not yours. Yeah, it's fucked up. But anyway, he fought the good fight, and he got to basically keep his amputated leg. He said that at first he had a million ideas. He really wanted to taxidermy it. And he said it'd be cool to use it as like a doorstop or like a lamp.
Oh my gosh.
But he couldn't find a taxidermist that would do it. Like, none of them were down for that. And let me tell you, if anybody's ever in this situation, I know some taxidermists that would love to do that. So just hit me up. We'll find the right person for you. But they wouldn't. They were like, oh, no, absolutely not. He thought about having it freeze dried, but he found out that having it freeze dried was like it was like super expensive.
Oh.
So he's like, well, okay. And then he was like, well, I could have it plaster casted, which I think he did have it plaster casted, but he has the hollow bit, not the actual leg itself.
Yeah.
But then it kind of, he was kind of sitting with his group of friends, and he's like, they were kind of playing with it one day. Because he said it was frozen, right? They kept it in a freezer at the hospital. He gets it. He keeps it in his freezer, but he takes it out, and they're kind of looking at it. He said at first it was kind of gross. It was like covered in like iodine and blood, and he had to like clean it up. But he said, after he cleaned it up, him and his friends were just kind of playing around with it. He said it felt kind of weird, because it's like, this is mine, but it, when you're holding it and stuff, it's not like you check out that it's a real leg.
Yeah.
But he just was sitting around with his friends, and he said, what if we ate it?
No.
Yeah. And his friends were like, dude, that's fucked up. Ha ha ha. And he's like, no, but really, guys, like, why not? Like, we can. It's mine, right? Like, let's try it. And then he said that this actually ended up being like a molding of two different friend groups, because he had two different friend groups. And the first one was kind of where the idea began, and he went and asked his other friend group. He's like, hey, would you guys, you want to like eat some of my leg? And they're like, okay, sure, yeah.
What?
He said in your friend groups, everybody kind of has that conversation of like, would you try it? If you could ethically try it, would you try it? And everybody, not everybody, but some people are like, well, fuck yeah, I'd try it. I'm in that camp. If I could ethically eat eat a human body part, I would try it. I would.
Really?
I would. It would feel wrong and weird and dirty. But if you take out like the murder or, any of the gruesomeness to it, why not? Why not try it?
Huh.
I mean, I'm curious.
I mean, I guess my thing, I can see the allure of like wanting to try something that realistically you are never going to get the opportunity to ever try.
Totally forbidden.
Totally get that.
So you wonder, I mean, you're like, well, what does it taste like? People kill people to do this. Like, it must be good. You think about, I would though. I mean, honestly, yeah, I'd check that shit out. I'd be like, okay. I wouldn't be like, if I got to the plate and it's in front of me, like I might get cold feet. I might get cold feet. That one was totally on accident, but that was good.
That was.
I might be like, I have a change of heart. Like, can I really do this? It's like bungee jumping. Like in my mind, I could be like, yeah, I could do that. But I think if I got to the bridge, I'd freeze.
Yep.
I'm like, nah, fuck this. For some people, it's a hard no. And for others, they're like, maybe. So, he was kind of like, I just decided to kind of call my friend group on that. Like, here's your opportunity. Let's do it. He said one of his friends was a chef. They kind of discussed what this would look like. How are they going to prepare it? Right. What are they going to do with it? And they decided to come up with the idea to make it into like a taco meat and put it into tacos.
Gourmet foot tacos.
Gourmet foot tacos. And he does. He ended up having him and 10 of his friends. The chef friend, he took the meat and he prepared it. So he didn't take it. So he himself, Shart, I'll call him for short. Shiny Shart. Incredibly shiny Shart. He took just like a chunk of muscle out of the top of the leg itself and then like put that into like a Ziploc bag and then like gave that to his chef friends.
Yeah.
And they cook it up, and they have a nice, I mean, they had a super nice meal otherwise. Like they had a whole, you know, just the whole nine, right? They had fancy wine, and they made it a big to-do, and they all sat around the table and they ate them. They, they ate them. And he explains the event like, one person spit it out.
Yep.
And he talks about how they're making jokes. Like his joke was like, wow, this is probably the only time I'll ever be inside of 10 of my friends at once. And they were all like, he said later, maybe like the next day or whatever, somebody called him and was like, dude, I just shat you out. He said it was just, it was kind of, morbid, but it was fine. And as far as the taste goes, I mean, he says that, a lot of people describe it as like pork-like. And he said he did not get that at all. He said it was very much like a very gamey meat. It was a lot like venison.
Oh, yeah.
He said it was very chewy. So, he said it wasn't too bad. And then he had the rest of the leg cremated, which he still has the remains of, and he has this plaster cast of the leg and his leg in him forever. He actually said that this was a super healing, emotionally healing process for him, because he really struggled with the fact of having his leg amputated.
Yeah.
But this was kind of closure for him to, make amends with that, and he lives a really wonderful life now, you guys. And listen, here's the best part: he is still super active on Reddit, and he's like really into plants. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I love it. And so if you go to his Reddit page, you can go see the types of things that he posts, and that whole post is available. There are some very gruesome pictures that accompany it, and this is how you know it's real, because there were pictures the whole step of the way, from the amputated leg to it being meat in a taco. But you have to dig to find that one. If you go, so like there's a feature on Reddit where you can go look at people's comments and like what they comment on other people's posts. And so if you go and look, every once in a great while, he will pop up and say some stuff. And people that know, like he's a Reddit legend. And people will tag him and stuff like on like cannibal posts and things like that. They'll be like, hey, do you have any insight into this? And he'll come and he'll comment and he'll talk all about it. I mean, he seems like a super nice guy.
Oh my gosh. It's interesting that you bring up like how healing it was for him, because you said he lost his leg in a motorcycle accident, correct?
It was.
There is a piece of writing called Song of the Sausage Creature. I don't know who it's by, but
I love whatever this is so far.
If you or if anyone you know rides motorcycles, it's one of these pieces I can't recommend reading enough. It's like a piece of short work, I don't know, maybe a couple pages, but it just describes this lurking sausage creature that is like when you do fall off your bike and your shoulder or your leg looks like ground meat because you're getting torn up by the road. And that's all I could think of when you started saying this, because there's like so much trauma in motorcycle accidents specifically. So I don't know, you describe him as like a plant dad, and he seems so nice. Like,
I love him.
It does. It seems like this really strange bonding and healing experience. And we go back to that whole like contextual culture thing of, if this is what Shart needed to do and his friends wanted to support him in that, can you fault it?
Yeah, good for him. I want to get him on the show, and I think he might do it, because he's just such a nice guy. I mean, I think he would. I think he'd be totally into it. So he did. People had questions like, why didn't you like? Because this was when he made it public on something like Reddit. It had been a couple years. So it wasn't like Reddit followed the journey of him cooking up. It's not like they had, sometimes you'll have stories like that, right? They'll have the choice of what he makes and all that out of his foot. But, people are like, why'd you wait so long? And he said because he was worried about the legalities of it.
Yeah.
Because it is weird and it's out there. But, eventually, he kind of did some research on it. And I mean, cannibalism's legal in 49 states. 49 of them. You can eat someone. It's the desecration of a corpse, which he didn't do. It's the killing, which he didn't do.
Yep.
That, make it illegal. He didn't do any of that. This was his own leg, and he was still alive. So, I'd love to get him on and to talk about his story more. And, but he does talk about how, he's doing great now. He's just, again, he says his own words. He's very happy, living a very fulfilled life as a plant dad.
Yeah.
I think that is wonderful. In the same kind of vein, this one's a little bit shorter, just because I don't have a lot of details about his personal life or anything. But another Japanese gentleman, an artist by the name of, I think it's Mao Sugiyama. Mao Sugiyama is an asexual man. Okay, I shouldn't say man. He's an asexual individual. They are an asexual individual. God, I'll get this right eventually.
We got there.
And they decided to do a piece of performance art so they had their penis surgically removed. The whole penis and the balls and everything.
Oh.
And they had an event where they invited people and a chef to come, eat their penis and balls and scrotum. Oh. So they did this. The people doing the eating, there wasn't very many because there wasn't enough to go around. I'm just saying, penises are only so big, you guys, right? It's average size is 4 inches or something like that. It's not that big of a deal. It's whatever, right? It's enough. 4 inches is enough. I promise.
It is.
So they all sit down and he has a professional chef prepare the meal. It was mixed in with some other things and, made into a proper meal. And, the people doing the eating, they paid about, it was 20,000 yen, which is $250 American.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. It's a steal to eat penis. Talk about swallowing cock, huh?
Eat a dick.
Eat a dick. There you go. You're like, well, I'm going to. I got tickets.
Yeah, I paid for this.
Right. Paid to be here. Joke's on you. So he has this whole event and it was a big, a performance art piece basically that he did. But, same situation. Obviously, Japan doesn't give a fuck about cannibals, clearly. But, again, it was his own body part. There was no desecration of corpse. There was no killing of anybody in order to achieve this. The art piece itself was centered around, there's a lot of different messages to it. It's interpretive because it's art, but, definitely centered around asexuality and, a commentary on gender and, I'm too stupid to understand it. I'll be honest with you, I guess. But yeah, it was people sat around and ate his cock and he became super famous for it. And I think they're still probably doing all right to this day.
Wow. I wonder if they were inspired at all by the celebrity cannibalism.
Probably, I would imagine to an extent.
If you're living in that time period, yeah.
I think, and also maybe by the foot tacos guy, because it's your body part, right? You're getting rid of it anyway.
Yeah,
you might as well do something useful with it. And I don't take issue with that at all. I just don't. Even with the placentas, yeah, it is weird. And I said that I thought about it and I might have done it. But again, I think once I got to that plate, I would have been like, never mind. That's gross.
But no, it is bodily autonomy.
Exactly.
There shouldn't really be a line, should there?
It's the ultimate consent. It's yours.
Yeah.
That's what I think I think if you were to have parts removed just to eat them, then that might be where the line is.
Yeah.
But I think that in natural removal of things and they're yours and you want to do whatever the fuck you want to do with them, that's nobody's business.
No.
It's between you and the people involved, your 11 friends or whatever, 10 friends.
Now, it would have been a problem if he did not disclose that it was human, then I would take issue with it.
Yes, you can't secretly feed human to people. That's That's not okay. You can't make fun of people if they get sick or back out or whatever, like,
Nope.
because that's one of those things. Like, it's cool if you don't want to, man. No peer pressure, right? But yeah, that's. I told you we'd end on a good note. If you suffered through the bad, you got to the
We got there.
fun. It's the fun time, the cannibal fun time. I don't know. Did I leave anything out? This is a long episode, but good. It's good.
This was. I don't think I have. I don't think I have anything.
Good. It's a Monday, and I'm old and I'm tired.
I hear that. We're like 20 minutes out from my bedtime here.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna wrap this up. Starting to get hungry, you know. No, it was. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. It's a very strange one, and definitely a different, jump on some of the usual topics we cover here. But I think, obviously, it fits the weird void quite
Absolutely.
a bit. Do you have anything that you want to say to the listeners before we wrap up, or do you want them to? Do you have anything to promote or put out there for people? Whatever you'd like to say. It's your time.
Oh, well, of course, thank you so much for having me. I haven't laughed this much in a long time, which is an unhinged thing to say about after talking about cannibals for 2.5 hours. But,
You're welcome.
no, I think I have 2 things to say. One, make sure, if you don't already, you have a public library card. Public libraries are awesome spaces. You can read about anything and everything, including cannibals and all the other weird stuff, and librarians are awesome. And if you are into miniature painting, like Warhammer painting, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram. I am Mal Paints Minis.
Very exciting. I think a lot of people are going to come for that. We got lots of Trekkies. That was just kidding.
All the nerds, I paint cool stuff.
They're totally no. I think there's definitely layover between this community and that one. So, but tell her, guys, if you show up because of the show, tell her that you showed up because of the show. I want everybody to know why you're there, because you listened to the cannibalism episode of On Wednesdays We Talk Weird. You need to admit that in public.
Am I the cannibalism girl?
Now you're the cannibalism girl. Yeah, that's you. You've solidified your fate.
Oh, my mom's going to be so proud.
Good. She should be.
No, but thank you. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Of course, you guys let me know what you think. No pressure to Malorie or anything, but let me know what you think about this episode and about her as a guest host. She is in the running. You may see her again in the future. If not every week, hopefully maybe just again in general. This was tons of fun. So, definitely open invite to have you back on sometime to talk about something else that's unhinged.
Well, thank you.
And with that being said, guys, we will see you back here next Wednesday.